I raised this issue because the Survey of Living Condition was published just a couple of days ago, which showed, quite surprisingly to us, and we say this openly, a measure of 9.9% for the incidence of poverty in Jamaica. And when we saw that number, we went back to the drawing table and asked, look at this again, because we were not expecting this. And we did a lot of checks to see all kinds of errors that were possible, and Statin came back and reconfirmed the numbers. And the explanation given was that 2007 was an interesting year. We had an election, and this was a huge spend, and a lot of money was spent. We had also the World Cup cricket, a lot of money was spent again. So in addition to political parties spending, an election year is also a year in which governments tend to spend a little bit more. We didn't know any significant spend there, but we also had significant increases in that year in construction. There was also remittance flows increase in that year. And it was the year of the zenith, so to speak, of the alternative investment schemes in Jamaica. So there's a lot of income flowing and a lot of consumption. And as you do know, the SLC is a measure of consumption. So it's not surprising after hearing those explanations that there was some improvement in the consumption levels, and therefore that reflected itself in the improvement in the poverty measure. We therefore do not expect that this trend is going to continue if it's a trend. And there may be some reversal. We are out in the field, even as we speak, doing a fairly large population survey, household survey for the 2008 figure. And we expect, well, I don't want to, my gut feeling tells me that with those, no election being held this year, no World Cup cricket, the alternative investment schemes in retreat, construction down, given what has happened in terms of food prices, and people having to shift income, that we're not expecting to see a significant improvement. In fact, there's a likelihood of a deterioration in this measure. In closing, I wish to emphasize the role of the PIOJ in the process of linking with our development partners. The Planning Institute is the agency designed and set up and operating to interface with our development partners. We are not in this because we want to add another layer of bureaucracy. It is specifically designed to ensure that there's consistency and that development projects and programs are consistent with government's priorities, government's programs, and we at least know what's happening so that we do not duplicate resources. And we keep saying this, and we know there are pressures on all sides sometimes to go around the PIOJ, partly because we sometimes ask tough questions. And I tell you the story, and I repeat it. I said it to someone this morning. I saw a press release being issued by a minister after having a meeting, a discussion at a cocktail party with a diplomat about a project. I won't name the project, but a press release was being prepared to say that after discussion last night at a cocktail party, but it didn't say cocktail party, a particular diplomat representative agreed to fund a particular project. All that was said was that the project was an interesting one and we should explore it, which is the usual response. So we had to try and kill that by saying you're going to compromise and put the diplomat in a difficult position. No diplomat ever tell you that your project is foolishness. They usually say it's an interesting one, you know, and let's explore it. So I'm really pleading once more. I do this every year with you. Involve the Planning Institute. We are not here to obstruct. There's sometimes when we do block ideas which are not consistent, which are duplication, which are, you know, suboptimal, to put it mildly. And that's our job. We need to ask questions. We need to, you know, act not just as a post office box, which facilitate the delivery of the mail, but to pose questions to ensure that there's rigorous analysis being done for projects to go forward. So realize that the PIOJ is here as a partner. We have been set up as the agency as an interlocutor with our development partners. The final comment I wish to make is to reiterate that next year is going to be a difficult year. We have huge challenges. We're going to see problems in relation to the implementation pace of some of the programs and projects. We're going to have difficulty with the budget, and therefore spend, which will be relying on resources flowing from the budget. There may be some interruptions. There may be the need for additional resources in specific areas that we may encounter, or we are likely to encounter, given the crisis that we are all going to face. The Planning Institute is more than willing and able to facilitate these changes. We have the medium-term framework document. We are open for discussions, and it would be useful if we can organize panel discussions or what have you to go through the document more fully, because as we speak, we are in the process of designing the implementation strategy. It's not yet set in stone. We have some internal arrangements to work out the respective roles of the various institutions. So we want to talk to you. We want to articulate more clearly what is set out here. We want to hear your views about what can work, and we are looking forward to your help in the implementation process. Thank you very much.